Good evening, everyone. In the absence tonight, on travel. On the call the November 1st, before we get started, I'll ask questions from the Vice President Brown, and then
All right, thank you. Tonight's meeting will be held in person with a virtual meeting component. If you are participating virtually, please make sure the name shown at the bottom of your video view is the name you would like the mayor to use. You can change this by right-clicking on the three dots in the upper corner of your video view and clicking Rename. Audience members present in the council chambers will be called upon first during public comment periods. Those participating remotely should please virtually raise your hand if you wish to speak. To virtually raise your hand, click on Participants and then click on Raise Hand. If you are participating by phone only, press *9 to raise your hand. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. All right, roll call. Fred Brink.
Here.
David Fetto.
Here.
May Hayes.
Here.
Kate Moran.
Present.
John Smart. Ken Stoker.
Here.
And Mayor Brent Gary and then Councilmember Richard Bloom are both out of the area.
So moved. Second.
Aye.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Aye.
Excuse me, Fred, I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear anybody else, David?
Yes, I just cannot hear Fred.
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
All right, we'll make it work. All right. Tonight we have a presentation. I'll ask Police Chief Tom Grego to introduce one of our newest officers, please. Officer Roman Seipert.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, City Council. It's always an honor introducing a new officers department and the team and the family that we've become. Tonight, I'm introducing Roman Seipert. He was born and raised in Lewiston, Idaho. Roman has worked many different jobs that have allowed him to work in Idaho, Utah, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Been around. Lewiston is where Roman started his career in law enforcement in 2018. Working for the Nez Perce County Sheriff's Office as a detention deputy before transitioning to Lewiston Police Department as a police officer in 2019. Roman has since worked for the Highburn Police Department, and that's in Highburn, Idaho, before moving to the Tri-Cities this fall. Roman has had the opportunities to attend several trainings focusing on mental health and people in crisis. The best training Roman was able to attend and complete was the motor school, where Roman was able to be certified as a motorcycle unit. Roman lives with his beautiful partner, Rihanna, who is a licensed attorney in Richland. Roman has an 8-year-old daughter named Harlow, who loves to learn and has a vivid imagination. Harlow causes gray hairs for Roman, but she always keeps Roman young. Roman enjoys being in the mountains, riding motorcycles and hiking and learning new things. Roman loves to serve the community he works in and lives in, and always does what needs to get done. So before I let Roman take the microphone, I will swear him in with his oath of office. Step up here.
I, Roman Simon,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Washington,
of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform and discharge
perform and discharge
the duties
of
of police officers
for
for the city of West Richland,
the city of West Richland,
Washington,
Washington,
according to the law,
according to the law,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
That's fair.
I just want to say thank you to the council, to the chief of police, Chief Grego, as well as the commanders and the rest of the police department for welcoming me into the community and allowing me to serve this community that has already proved to be a great community that I've seen so far.
Thank you, Officer Seipert. And if you'd like to just come up here, love to shake your hand. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. All right, Councilmember Fetto, can you hear me now?
Yes,
All
Sounds
right,
great.
excellent. We fixed the technical issue. All right, next on the agenda, we have the consent portion, which includes payment of the bills, approved minutes, regular minute, October 4, 2022, and the special meeting, October 25, 2022. Motion to confirm mayor's appointment of Jared Redder to the Planning Commission. We have resolution 55-22, amending master fee schedule for water system development fee, water connection hookup fee, and sewer system development fee. We have resolution 56-22, declaring city-owned property surplus, railroad right-of-way. And we have resolution 57-22, setting a public hearing for easement vacation VACA 008-2022. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing no one in the audience, is there anyone attending virtually who would like to comment on the consent agenda? If so, please raise your virtual hand. The city clerk will then unmute you, and I kindly ask that you state your name and city of residence for the record, and then provide your comments. If you're by telephone, you may press *9. Stephanie, do you see anyone?
I do not.
Neither do I. All right. With no public comment, council, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to, oh, go ahead. I move to approve this consent agenda as presented.
Second. Council, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We're now up to the first citizens' comment period. And this is the first opportunity this evening for citizens to comment on items not on the agenda. If you do wish to provide comments, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no one here, if there's anyone that is attending virtually who would like to provide a comment, please raise your virtual hand. City clerk will unmute you, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. Kindly state your name and city of residence for the record, and you may press *9 to raise your hand if you're calling in by telephone. Stephanie, do you see anyone?
I do not.
Neither do I. All right, we'll move on to ordinances, resolutions, motions, and public hearings. First item is a public hearing, revenue sources and 2023 property tax. Items 8A and 8B are a public hearing and an ordinance for revenue sources and the 2023 property tax. I'll ask our Finance Director, Erin Gwynn, to present the staff report. Ms. Gwynn?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Brink. Good evening, council. Tonight's public hearing is the first of 2 for the 23-24 biennial budget. The information before you is for setting the property tax to be collected in 2023. There are two limits that affect the amount the city can levy. The first is the rate of taxation. The maximum levy rate for West Richland is $3.60, less the regular levy for Benton County Fire District number 4, which is $1.50. So if you take the 360 less the $1.50, it's $2.10. That's the ceiling, the maximum we can levy. The second limit restricts the amount of revenue generated by the levy for local governments with a population greater than 10,000. The regular property tax increase is limited to the lesser of 1% or the implicit price deflator. And for 2023, that is 1%. What exactly does this mean? So in your packet, in this first slide that we have, I have Stephanie have the slides. Okay. Oh, they're up. I can't. Gotcha. So on this first screen, you'll see the total revenue for the city levied in 22 was $2,724,041. The city can only increase the tax for existing homes by 1% or $27,240 for 2023. The general fund portion of that is $21,111, and the portion allocated to the library fund is $6,129. The city levy ceiling is the $2.10 in 23, and the levy rate is expected to be approximately $1.33. So the difference between the two is 77 cents. Oh, and of the $1.33, $1.03 goes to the general fund and approximately 30 cents to the library fund. Of that remaining 77 cents, that is the amount of that, go back one more. So about midway down, it says remaining statutory limit, which is that $1,662,355. That is the excess revenue that the city could collect. That's the maximum additional. So in this case, at the $1.33 levy rate, for a homeowner of a $400,000 home, the city's portion of annual property tax bill is approximately $533. 413 that go to the general fund and 120 that goes to library operations. In this next slide is a summary of how your dollar of property tax money gets split up. We bring this back about once a year. So about 38% goes to the Richland School District, 21% to the state schools, 17% to the fire district, 9% to the city's general fund, 8% to Benton County, 3% to the West Richland Library, and 2% to the new police facility, and 2% to the Port of Kennewick. This final slide is bonus. I've included it as an excess levy. This is to pay for the police facility bond. The levy amount for 2023 is $525,000, which will be used to make the bond payment for 2030. For a homeowner of a $400,000 home, the portion of annual property tax bill is estimated to be $97.03 for the year, or $8.09 a month. In conclusion, the attached ordinance is to set the 2023 property tax regular levy amount at 101% of the 2022 levy amount plus any new construction. The 1% increase is included in the mayor's proposed 23-24 budget. Staff recommends passing the ordinance.
Thank you, Ms. Gwynn. I will now open public hearing at 6:14 p.m. We'll hear in-person comments first and then virtual attendee comments. If you're in the audience and wish to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no one in the council chambers, if there's anyone attending virtually who would like to provide a comment, please raise your virtual hand. City clerk will unmute you and you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're calling by telephone, you may press *9 to raise your hand. Stephanie, I don't see anyone. Do you?
Not see anyone, no.
Seeing no one in person or online, I will close the public hearing at 6:15 PM. Council, do I have a motion on this action? Pass the ordinance.
Move to pass ordinance 2322 and approve the levy certification fixing the amount of ad valorem tax to be assessed during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Council, any questions of Ms. Nguyen or discussion amongst ourselves? Council. You have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Councilmember Moran.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to make sure, and I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, so it should be fairly simple. So if someone were to have a $400,000 valued home, currently with the taxes that they are this year, how much would they be paying that would just go to West Richland? Are you aware?
That would be, I think, the $533 that's in there. So that's the approximate at $1.33.
Right, and then with the newer one, what would their taxes be going to West Richland?
Okay, I'm confused. Are you meaning the 22? What did they pay?
Yes, well, if in 2022, before this, if they had a
Um,
$400,000 home, how much would they be paying just to West Richland? Because the
Um,
2023 is a 533, right?
Right, I
Okay.
think the levy rate in 2022 is $1.42. So if you take $1.42 times 400, what is that? It would probably be more. 568, okay.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. So with this, we're saying that people are going to be paying less next year to West. I'm seeing no's from someone.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's if their home is valued at 400,000 and it was valued the same, so that is true.
We're just gonna say if the county came through and reassessed your house and your assessment went up between last year and this year,
Right.
you could pay more.
Right, I'm just working with one variable here.
Okay.
If the house were to be exactly the same value,
Yes.
engineers
if-
with their
if
numbers.
A $400,000 home in 22 and a $400,000 in 23, the property tax goes down.
Thank you. That is, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse.
That's okay. Thank you.
No other questions? All right, council, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is public hearing, granting a frontage improvement waiver for State Route 224, parcel 11, ROS number 3871. And items 8C and 8D are a public hearing and a resolution for a frontage waiver request. Public Works Director Roscoe Slade will present the staff report.
But what you have tonight, council, is a property owner's request. It's petition council to waive frontage improvements to Van Giesen. Just to be clear, this doesn't include the frontage to Paradise Way. And this is associated with a short plat application and pending building permits for this parcel. Per West Richland Municipal Code, notice was mailed to the budding property owners within 600 feet of the subject property. The property was posted, and notices were also posted in several locations around the city as required. And in your packet, there is a copy of the notice. Per West Richland Municipal Code, section 120460, a waiver from the application, any of the provisions of this chapter may be granted by the city council by resolution with or without conditions upon the finding that the waiver from the terms or requirements of the chapter will in no way be detrimental to the best interests of the city, will not be contrary to its intent or to the public's health or public interest, safety, health, and welfare, and where special or where due special conditions or exceptional characteristics of the subject property. Literal enforcement of this chapter would result in practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships. City staff has reviewed the requested frontage improvement waiver and believes that granting the waiver with the two conditions noted below would not be detrimental to the best interest of the city and would not be contrary to its intent, public interest, safety, health, and welfare, because WashDOT has a $31.5 million project that will complete the same improvements for which the waiver is being requested. Staff's recommendation is that council grants the property owner the frontage waiver for the 7 frontage improvements listed with 2 conditions. One deals with the dedication of road right of way at the corner of Paradise Way and Van Giesen within 30 days. And then also within 30 days, granting a temporary construction easement along that frontage. So with that, staff's recommending council approval. The city clerk did receive one written public comment prior to tonight's meeting. This is hard, Fred, trying to hold this in time. So John and Melinda Gill, they are property owners at 859 Duke Lane, 847 Duke Lane, and 433 Bedrock Loop in West Richland. And I'm just going to read it to you. It's short. It says, "Dear council members, my husband, John Brant Gill, and myself, Melinda Gill, would like to see sidewalks, storm drainage, curb gutters, handicap ramps, and sidewalks, as well as road striping and signage occur on Van Giesen. It would be our request that the petition to waive these developments not be granted so that these items can occur." So just to be clear, the frontage waiver is for the developer not to do these since the DOT is going to be making those improvements with that project. So anything that's done piecemeal more than likely will be a throwaway and rejected. So unfortunately, I didn't have a phone number or an email that I could have contacted beforehand to provide that clarification, but that's what was received so far. I don't know other ones.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. I will now open the public hearing at 6:22 PM. And we'll hear in-person comments first and then virtual attendee comments. If you're in the audience and wish to speak on this topic, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no one in person, is there anyone attending virtually who'd like to provide a comment? If so, please raise your virtual hand. City clerk will unmute you, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're calling by telephone, please press *9 and the city clerk will recognize you. Stephanie, I do not see anyone.
Or do I?
Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 6:23 PM. And I will ask my fellow council members for a motion.
I move to pass resolution 58-22, granting a frontage improvement waiver with noted conditions for specific frontage improvements to Van Giesen, SR 224, per West Richland Municipal Code 12.04.060, associated with short plat applications PLAT 009-2022, and pending building permits for parcel number 11, ROS number 3871.
I have a motion and a second. Council, any questions of staff or amongst yourselves? Councilmember Stoker.
Yeah, so this, I think, is just more to clarify for everyone in the public. But the frontage improvements that we have in the 5-lane section of Van Giesen was also paid for with the state funding during that project. So that's conducive to continue doing that with this. And so any previous what may be misconstrued as property owners along that frontage who may have paid, that's not really true. So this isn't anything out of the ordinary that the state is paying for these improvements as we continue this project out through the racetrack.
Yeah, that's correct. As taxpayers, we all paid for it through our taxes, but yeah, the DOT paid for it. And this is a 3-mile section that will get very similar improvements. Actually, they'll actually get complete streets improvements, actually better than what you see through the old downtown area.
No other questions? Then council, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have another public hearing on the agenda. Public hearing to grant a frontage improvement waiver SR 224, lots 33 through 35, Western Ridge Phase 2. The public hearing resolution for frontage waiver will receive the staff report delivery by Oscar Slade again.
Thank you. So again, another frontage waiver. This is just across the street from Paradise. So we just did one on the southeast corner. This is on the northeast corner. We received a petition for a frontage waiver from the owners of lots 33, 34, and 35 of Western Ridge Phase 2 for specific improvements to Van Giesen SR 224 associated with pending building permits. Per West Richland Municipal Code, notices were mailed to budding property owners within 600 feet of the subject property. Property was posted. Notice was posted in several locations around the city as required, and a copy of the notice is provided in your packet. Again, I won't read the whole section of West Richland Municipal Code, section 1204-060 that lays out the requirements or conditions associated with a frontage waiver improvement and what council can or can't not do. City staff has reviewed the requested frontage improvement waiver and again believes that granting the waiver will be with the two conditions noted below will not be detrimental or not in the best interest of the city. And again, it's because WashDOT's doing $31.5 million improvement to Van Giesen, for which the waiver is being requested. Staff's recommendation is to grant the property owners of lot 33, 34 Western Ridge a frontage improvement waiver associated with pending building permits for those lots. There are 7 frontage waiver that are listed there, frontage improvements that are listed. And again, the two conditions are within 30 days that the property owner dedicate the road right away, a small sliver at the corner of Paradise and Van Giesen, and also within 30 days grant the city a temporary construction permit along the front of Van Giesen frontage. And this one also received a public comment from Mr. and Mr. Gill, again recommending denial because they want those improvements. But unfortunately, again, didn't provide email or phone number so I can contact them, let them know that, well, if if a great waiver is granted, that those improvements would still occur with the project.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. I will open the public hearing in this matter now at 6:28. Once again, we'll hear in-person comments first and then virtual attendee comments. If you're in the audience and wish to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one in-house, is there anyone attending virtually who would like to provide a comment? If so, please raise your hand. The city clerk will unmute you. You'll have 3 minutes to provide your comment. I kindly request you provide your name and city of address for the record. You may press *9 to raise your hand via telephone. Once again, Stephanie, I do not see anyone. Do you?
I do not know.
Seeing no one, I will also close the public hearing at 6:28 p.m. And I will ask council for a motion, please.
I move to pass resolution 59-22, granting a frontage improvement waiver with noted conditions for specific frontage improvements to Van Giesen SR 224 per West Richland Municipal Code 12.04.060 associated with pending building permits for lots 33, 34, and 35 Western Ridge Phase 2.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Council, any questions or comments or discussion? Mr. Fetto.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick question, Roscoe. I just want to confirm lot 33 that we're not waiving frontage approval to Paradise Way, the quarter of lot 33. Is that right?
Those improvements have already been completed along Paradise. For lot 33.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments or questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 8G and H, which is a text amendment to allow public school support facilities. Community Development, Eric Mendenhall will present the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Brink. Members of the council, before you this evening is an ordinance that proposes to create a definition for school support facilities and also establish those as permitted uses in the commercial general, commercial light industrial, and light industrial zoning districts. The purpose of this proposal is the school district is looking for locations within the city of West Richland to locate such facilities, and properties that we've discussed with them are located in those zones. So we're just trying to help facilitate that as an option for them in the future. So staff's reviewed this. We've taken this to the planning commission. They're recommending council approve this, these amendments as proposed. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mendenhall. This text amendment has a public hearing also, which I will open at 6:31 p.m. Again, I'll ask in-person comments and then seek any virtual attendee comments. So if you're in the audience and wish to speak, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, I will turn to the virtual attendees. If there's anyone who'd like to provide a comment, please raise your virtual hand. City clerk will unmute you. You'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. You may also press *9 to raise your hand via telephone. Once again, I do not see anyone that wishes to comment. Stephanie, do you?
I do not know.
If we're seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 6:32 p.m. And I now turn to my fellow council members for a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance 23-22 with the proposed text amendment to allow the school district to locate support facilities as a permitted use in the commercial general, commercial light industrial, and light industrial zoning districts.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, any discussions or questions? Councilmember Smart.
Yes, fellow council members and Eric, I just thought of this. I need to ask this question. So we have prohibited storage units from being built in West Richland, mainly because they're not conducive to retail sales on frontages of major arterials. And it just strikes me that I'm wondering if we have any of these zoned lands adjacent to major arterials within the city, and if so, how does this square by putting like a bus lot or a maintenance facility, on that kind of a precious retail frontage roads?
So it's very different as compared to a mini storage facility. So mini storage facilities, we get zero sales tax revenue from and almost zero employment for. This facility such as this, you would have the school district employees that work in the warehouse. They would ship all of their purchases to this location to be inventoried and then sent out to the schools. So there's a significant amount of sales tax that could be seen from this as well. So there's a huge difference between this use and what you get from a mini storage facility.
Excellent, thank you for that. Just wanna bring that point up in case anyone had concerns, myself included.
Mr. Fetto, Councilmember Fetto.
Thank you, Eric. And I emailed you earlier, same type of question. I have a problem with the wording storage facilities, because what if the school district purchases a piece of land along one of our arterials and decides we need extra space to store books, and they throw a whole bunch of portable containers on this lot, let's say abutting Keene, abutting Belmont, and they have a piece of land, and they just drop in a bunch of these mini storage tankers and fill them full of books. I just don't like the word storage facilities. I get the understanding with the warehouse, bus parking, storage facilities just still is sticking with me And that was my question before, is this open us up to any additional liability in that we're going to allow specifically the school district to do a storage facility, but not a public, a member of the general public to be able to open a storage facility? I just don't like the word. I understand, again, the warehouse and them dropping their materials, and I just don't like the word storage facilities without a definition that this storage facility is not simply a bunch of, again, 12-foot by 12-foot metal prefab storage that they just drop on the piece of land and have a driveway to offset. When they're getting ready to build a new high school, they're going to put desks and chairs, or if they do a remodel of another elementary school and they move all their stuff out to this thing. I'm still stuck on storage facilities.
Thank you, Mr. Fetto. So just want to clarify, storage containers are prohibited, and we don't allow those as uses on any properties. So those that you do see around the city, we're actually actively code enforce actions are being taken upon. We've got a list that we're going through. We've got a wonderful gentleman in the community send us a whole list of addresses that have those on them. So we're going through and prioritizing those. So having those as storage, the storage containers would be allowed. They'd have to create an actual facility, a building to put those in.
Okay, and I still don't see how that differs from, I know the word mini is not there. I still struggle to see how that's different from the mini storage unit that we are no longer allowing within the city limits.
That's why I created the definition and wrote it the way I did, was to create a definition that creates it's a public facility. It's not a private user. You can define that within your code and allow for public uses that don't allow for private uses. For instance, I've created code where you could have a public parking lot near a transit station, but you could not create a private parking lot that would be used by a user that would rent those stalls out per month. So there is functionality for a city to be able to do that, to differentiate between different users that way. And I believe that the proposal does that and takes care of that and alleviates us from any liability or any confusion that may be caused.
And then just real quick, remind me, in the code, I mean, I can look this up, but in the code, is there language on a noise barrier if any one of these zones are butting up against residential?
The sites they're looking at don't butt up against residential at this time.
Okay, but in the future, do we have any CG, CLI, or LI that butt against residential? And are there any noise, an 8-foot block wall or anything like that that's already in code?
We do have some that are butting up against residential, and we also have a noise ordinance that would limit what their noise emissions could be on their property line.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Small. Yeah, just to follow on a little bit here, I think the ordinance itself, if I read it right, indicates add a definition for public school facilities and amending the section commercial land use matrix, allowing public school support facilities in commercial general light industrial and commercial light industrial districts. So we're just really, it seems to me, we're really just legally stating public school support facilities. Is that not correct? We're not actually putting definitions of warehouse or bus lots.
Correct.
So forth.
We already have those definitions established. So this is just for a school support facility.
Right. And then the only thing I would mention, if we were to have put the word warehouse in the ordinance, I mean, I would want to make it a receiving warehouse. There are different kinds of warehouses. Some of them are just for storage, etc., which might help away some of the concerns about not getting revenue from this facility. But then, and the other thing I would mention is that in the past, we have discussed putting, storage facilities for allowing them, but making sure that they're offset from major arterial so that it preserves the frontage of the road for more fruitful endeavors as far as taxes go. But yeah, I just want to point out that we are just saying the public school support facilities really could be just about anything. Including like a yard store, road salt, and of course, I don't think the school does that. Yeah, it could be anything.
It could be anything, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're trying to help support them and help them grow here in the city of West Richland, and that's the whole purpose behind this amendment.
And our job is to make sure we're not doing that to our detriment. Which I don't think we are, just to be clear, but it's a good discussion. Thank you.
Councilmember Moran.
Thank you. I was just looking through for Title 17, just for others, the definition for storage facilities. Let's see. Eric, I'm wondering for this particular one, is there one that would specifically relate to the schools? Because you've got storage facilities, bulk storage facilities, commercial, which I'm assuming that wouldn't be it, outdoor, and then the mini storage, mini warehouse. So would it be I'm assuming bulk that would associate with this, or would it be a totally different definition just for the schools?
Well, as section 1 has, it's a complete new definition. You know, this is the first time hearing a lot of these questions. I'd love to come more prepared to answer some of these things. But, you know, it is just for a school support facility. It's not going to allow and open up the barn door for anyone and everyone else to come in. That's why it's written the way it is to just allow for a school support facility. That's why it has its own definition as far as what that is, whether it's bulk storage or not. Really what they're trying to do, again, is just create a warehouse where they receive all of their goods, a bus barn facility, and maybe some other support, you know, a maintenance shop for maintaining their buses and other vehicles.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't associated with a different definition. So thank you.
Yes, I do note also in the West Richland Municipal Code chapter revisions, you've spelled out specifically public schools. Any other questions from council? Then I ask council, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We're now at section 9, unfinished business. We don't have it. And we have no new business tonight either. So now this is the second period for public comment. I'll open the public comment period. If you wish to provide comments, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. If there's anyone attending virtually who would like to provide a comment, please raise your virtual hand as well. City clerk will unmute you, and you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're calling in by telephone, you may press *9. Stephanie, I don't see anyone. Do you?
I do not.
All right, we're now at staff and council announcements, reports and comments. Any members of staff that wish to make a report or comments? Mr. Slade.
Yeah, just quick. So while the police station got opened back in January, we're still going through the project closeout. For those that were on the subcommittee, there was a long list of things that were put off to the side to ensure that the required things with that police station got built. And now that we're going back through and looking at the things we put on hold to make sure it got done, there is leftover funds. And so things like reader board, some rock over the storm drainage swale to help with the maintenance guys maintaining it. We're working on that and what council can expect. Hopefully before the end of the year that we'll bring an amendment back to that guaranteed maximum price for the police station to amend it to allow those final amenities to be constructed down there at the police station, and then we can close out that project. So good news is, again, we were ahead of schedule and under budget, and there's a few things that we weren't sure if we could provide to the police station that they're going to get. So it's good news.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. Mr. Mendenhall.
I just want to invite the community out to the planning commission next week. Our consultant's going to be presenting on their findings from the charrette that we held for the Lewis and Clark Ranch. So they're going to be going over what they found, their findings are, and the reasonable alternative, what they've developed for one of the alternatives that will go through the EIS process. So invite all to come out, be part of that, be able to listen in and hear what's going on and be part of the process.
When?
Yeah, I just wanted to update. I haven't heard any questions so far on the budget. So I encourage all of you, if you have them, please get them in and we can get the research done and get your questions answered.
Slade round two.
And sorry, the one thing I was supposed to mention. So engineering staff's going to have an open house on Wednesday, November 16th from 5:30 to 7 at Taft Hill Elementary. I think the clerk will be definitely sending out things to whether council members are going to attend. The intent of it is to we're going to meet with the public, and it really is on the that active transportation things that we have incorporated in the project. We want to hear from the users. Are we putting the transit bus stops in the right locations for users? We've coordinated that with transit, but now we want to hear from the transit users. There'll be invites out to like Bike Tri-Cities to make sure that these amenities that we're putting with the bike lanes are what they want. There's a section of widened sidewalk pathway. So there'll be an outreach. I think they're even going to put a reader board on the side of the road down there to get people to come. Like I said, we'll have quite a bit of staff down there to kind of explain the project. There'll be comment cards. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about the project that we won't have the answers because we're at the beginning of the design. But really, it's focused on users of transit, people that bike, people that walk. We want to make sure we got those amenities in there that those people need and want before we move forward with the design. And Washtenaw will representatives will also be there.
Council members? Ms. Ryan?
Thank you. Well, I will say it if Chief Grego won't. There was a fantastic group of folks at the police station last night for Halloween, and there was a lot of kids coming through there. They were having the time of their life, some great costumes, and it was a lot of good fun. So hopefully next year it'll be even bigger. I heard rumor about smoke machines, things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Chief, for inviting us out there, and I'm looking forward to next year. Roscoe, I was just wondering for the meeting you were talking about on Wednesday, what day and time was that? I know we'll get something probably in the email, but just wanted to get it again.
Yeah, so it's Wednesday, November 16th, 5:30 to 7 at Taft Hill Elementary in the gymnasium there.
Thank you very much. And would you like for me to send an invite to folks that are in the Tri-Cities Mobility Action Group as well? It sounds like that might be their wheelhouse, pun intended.
Anybody's welcome. We'd like to hear from them that would like to have input on that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes, thank you, Pro Tem Brink. I would like to add to that, my daughter did show up at the Halloween thing last night, and as a teenager, you know how hard it is sometimes to get them to say anything, but she did make comments, her and her friend. Well, she had several friends, but only one of them actually came back in the house when we got home. So must have been pretty good. With that, Councilmember Hayes and I both participated in a tour of the Hanford site last month. It was very informative. I enjoyed it a lot. Lots of information, quite a bit of overload. But I just wanted to thank the people at Hanford who helped coordinate that, and I think Stephanie helped out with that too. So thank you very much for that. Look forward to doing that again.
Councilmember Smart?
Yeah, so Councilmember Stoker, if you want to do that again, you can join the HAB, because I got to take that same tour a couple weeks ago, spent a day during orientation, found out that I'm still not actually an official member of the HAB, and myself, along with a dozen other folks, are waiting for DOE approval, I guess, but we appreciate the thoroughness of their process. Then that was followed by 2 days of HAB meetings, which were a joy and informative. The presentations were excellent, and just looking forward to getting involved with that. And and basically helping to inform the citizens of West Richland and perhaps making a suggestion or two along the way. But I really look at it more as more of a information conduit to our citizens, and I think is what hopefully it would be. So then went to the Good Roads meeting. Drew made an excellent presentation just to represent West Richland in Roscoe's absence. There was a vote on which road projects should be recommended, and I believe, Roscoe, we got the ones that we were interested in made the final cut as a recommendation. No guarantees as to what the state would be represented. But anyway, good times all around, and thank you. That's all I have.
Councilmember Hayes.
Thank you. Just a huge thank you to the city maintenance department, to the police, to the fire district for all the support with the Veterans Day Parade coming up. Once again, it's going to be a huge parade, and usually we end up with about 1,200 people in the parade because we have more and more bands and youth groups and all of this that are there to support the veterans. So it is very heartwarming for all the veterans that are in it, and to see the city of West Richland has always been behind our veterans. And so I'm grateful for that, the city. So it starts 9:30 on Saturday morning, down from Gross Cup, goes down to 38 and back to Flat Top Park for a chili feed that the combat vets put on. So I invite everybody to come out and watch it and honor our veterans like this town usually does. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayes. I just have a couple of comments. I provided the state of West Richland address, which really was a privilege to do so at the Regional Chamber of Commerce meeting on October 19th, the annual meeting in Pasco. I also participated with Councilmember Moran in the BF COG meeting on October 21st. And I did attend an AWC's Cities on Tap event in Spokane Valley on the 27th of October. I happened to be up in that area, so I stopped in there for that. Just a friendly reminder, Election Day is Tuesday. If you have not filled out your ballots, a lot of races, please take a look at the information, do whatever research you need to do, and vote for your appropriate candidate. And lastly, it being Veterans Day, coming up, the Veterans Day Parade, I know I'm going to be in it, and several fellow council members will be in it as well. I spoke at the time of remembrance last month, and I just want to close with a little quote that I used at that speech because I think it's very appropriate. It was written by Elmer Davis. Most people don't know who Elmer Davis is, but he was the director of the Office of War Information during World War II. And it's a quote which is often heard today in different variations. Davis wrote at the time, "This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is the home of the brave." So with that, Council, we will now move to an executive session pursuant to revised Code of Washington 42.30.110C, minimum price at which real estate will be offered for sale or lease. The executive session should last about 10 minutes. And then we'll enter into a closed session pursuant to RCW 4230.144A for discussion of a collective bargaining agreement. There will be no action to follow in both of these discussions. So I will adjourn this open meeting at 6:54 and we will move to executive session.